My name is Sujith, Billa, and you're watching Sujith Talks. I'm a registered migration agent based in Australia who is passionate to publish pristine information about Australian immigration. Stay tuned for more videos by subscribing to Sujith Talks on YouTube and clicking on the bell icon. For some interesting news stories on Australian immigration, like my page Sujith Talks on Facebook.
What you should know about the skills assessment bodies. It's very interesting for me to understand how the skills assessment bodies work, and so it should be interesting for you because you are the prospective migrants. You should be more interested to know about the skills assessment bodies, particularly the skills assessment body that is assessing your occupation. So firstly, you should know what occupation you fall under, and secondly, you should know which skills assessment body that will assess your occupation. So for that, you need to know thirdly the skilled list, where to find the skilled list. So for 189, 190 and 489 visas, the relevant skilled occupation lists can be found in the legal document called as IMI 18/051. If you search for IMI/051, IMI 18/051, correction, you will find the relevant skill list called as MLT, SSL, STS Royal and R Royal, which has a list of occupations, and beside each occupation there is the relevant skills assessment body. For example, for software engineer it is ACS, for civil engineer it is Engineers Australia, for agricultural consultant it is VETSS, for registered nurse there are different types of registered nurse, talking about critical care and emergency, then it is NMAC. So there are several different occupations and several different skill assessment bodies. Now what interested me when I was reading this document under the Freedom of Information Disclosure Logs, I've put the link to the document or the title of the document in the video description below. It is talking about the guidelines for the skills assessment bodies. So there are some guidelines that the skills assessment bodies should follow, and there are 4 departments involved here. One is the Department of Education and Training, one is the Minister for Education, one is the Department of Home Affairs, and then you got directly the Minister for Immigration. These 4 departments, or people if you like, are coordinating and then setting guidelines or monitoring these skill assessment bodies. Some of the guidelines that I felt interesting are about the assessment standards, about the information about skills assessments, about the information of review and appeal process that the skills assessment body should follow. So the first one, it's not the first guideline, but the first one that I liked from the guidelines is the assessment standards. So you got certain standards set for Australians and permanent residents when they go to apply for a particular job. For example, software engineer. So they are IT professionals, they are looking for a software engineer role. They should look at ANSCO description and then apply jobs based on the skill level that the ANSCO description is asking, or the ABS website says. Now the skills assessment body should set the same standards. Okay, these standards should be same. So for the prospective migrants, for the Australians and permanent residents, the standards should be same. So the standards should not be more or should not be less for a skill assessment body to assess a prospective migrants. So this is one of those guidelines I felt very interesting. What it says is the assessment standards that are consistent with standards needed for employment in the nominated occupation in Australia and has appropriate process for assessing applicants against these standards. Okay, so the other guideline, the second guideline that I liked was clearly informing prospective migrants about skills assessments. So we have got a website for a particular skills assessment body. In the website you got clear-cut information about what is skills assessment for a particular occupation, what are the requirements 1, 2, 3, what are the documents that should be provided 1, 2, 3, and how would you like those documents to be provided. Do you like to be certified? Do you like them to be certified, notarized, or what format, whether you're providing a sample for an experience letter or a template for a statement of service, and whether you need a bank statement, whether you need a pay slip, whether you need a relieving letter, offer letter, things like that. So there should be clear-cut information for prospective migrants on the websites of skill assessment bodies. That is why you got information booklets on different websites like ACS and Engineers Australia and VETASYS. On ACS, if you see the documents like summary of criteria, which talks about how many years of experience is deducted based on your background, based on your qualifications, based on your work experience, and whether the work experience is relevant to the chosen occupation. In Engineers Australia, you got different sorts of evidence that you have to provide when you're going for employment assessment. And in VETASYS, some occupations, you got information sheets which talks about more about the occupation, what kind of occupation it is. It clearly tells you whether that is different from another occupation that you might think it might be relevant. And they are again talking about relevant education and some experience in the last 5 years, usually when it comes to VETASYS. So these kind of information should be provided on the website of the skills assessment bodies. The third thing I liked was the proper review or appeal process that the skills assessment body should follow. They have to tell us, or the prospective migrants, that whether there is a review or whether there is an appeal, or whether there are both review and appeal, and what is the fees, how much is the fees that you have to pay for skills assessment review if there is a negative outcome, and whether the same person is reviewing the case or a different person, and if the different person is within the body or outside the body who is doing the review process or the appeal process, and whether there is a refund of the money you pay to the skills assessment body. So those are the 3 guidelines that I liked. It need not be the same guidelines that you might like or you might find it interesting or informative. So this video doesn't give you comprehensive knowledge about the guidelines. So I would strongly recommend you to read the full document.
That brings an end to this video. Thank you for watching. My name is Sujith Billa, a registered migration agent based in Australia. If you require immigration advice, go to my website sujithtalks.com, select your time zone and schedule a phone or web consultation.